Hello, this is Dr. John Wallman. I'm here with some short videos in the series of Reason for Calm regarding the COVID-19. This particular presentation, about 3-4 minutes long, is the COVID-19 statistics for New York State as of March 21, 2020. So with this incidence for New York State video, we're going to be comparing it to the flu. And why do we want to compare it to influenza? Because based on the current trends and projections, the mortality rate is going to end up very comparable to the annual flu, which for flu, it's about 0.1%. And it looks like we're on track for that with COVID-19. So let's look at the hard numbers. For the flu in New York State, the average number of cases per year is 1.9 million people get the flu every year in New York State. The mortality rate for the flu averages 0.1%, which means in New York State, the flu deaths per year averages 1,954. Now let's compare that to where we're at with COVID-19 so far. As of March 20, the New York State mortality rate for COVID-19 is 0.4%, and that is dropping fast. In the beginning of this particular pandemic, it was averaging closer to 3%, ranging from 2 to 4%. But as the number of cases has been coming online, as testing becomes available, the mortality rate goes down, and we'll go into that in a moment. So the total number of deaths to date in New York State is 38. This is as of 3/20. So New York State flu deaths per year, 1,954, and COVID-19 deaths to date, 38. Okay, let's look at the incidence, or how many cases you get of a particular outbreak. Well, first we have the population of New York State, 19,540,000, and that was as of 2018. So for the flu, and these statistics are from the CDC and the New York State Department of Public Health, the average incidence of flu per year in the US is 10%. It ranges from a low of 5% to a high of 20%, but it averages total about 10%. Average number of flu cases per year then in New York State is 1.9 million. Now, if we compare that to the number of cases so far of COVID-19, the incidence to date is 0.04%. Now, and that means a total number of cases in New York State, and these are the hard numbers that we've got of confirmed cases, 8,305. Now, the incidence number is expected to go up in New York State as testing becomes available, and that's a very good thing. And we'll get into that just very shortly. So expect the number of cases to go up in New York State, but that's good. All right, so recap, flu incidence per year average, 1.9 million. Number of COVID-19 cases in New York State so far, 8,305. Okay, let's look at the mortality rate and how that declines as the incident rate goes up. Okay, so what's mortality rate? It's the number of deaths divided by the number of confirmed cases. Okay, in the beginning, and this is pretty typical for almost any pandemic, and they know this has happened over and over again, and it always goes this way. The early results are that the deaths are accurate. The confirmed incident rate is very low. It's underestimated because for any new disease, there's limited testing available. They have to develop the kits that are specific to that particular pathogen. The result of this particular combo is that in a new pandemic, the mortality rate is very high. The estimate is very high. And in this case of COVID-19, the early mortality rate in New York State was 2 to 4%. The current results, so now we're just a little bit into this, a month or two. with New York State as of 3/20, the deaths remain fairly accurate and fairly consistent, but the confirmed incidence rate is going up rapidly as the testing becomes available. So already, just a couple months into this, the mortality rate has dropped to 0.4%, or 0.00457 more specifically. Okay, so bottom line, mortality rate is expected to continue to drop rapidly as testing frequency and incidence increases. So we got the drive-through testing coming online now. We've got the rapid turnaround tests now. The incidence rate is going to go up, but that's great because that means the mortality rate is going to drop, and as of now is expected to drop to the range of the annual flu. If you don't panic over the flu every year, you shouldn't be panicking over COVID-19. Let's look at the statistics for mortality rate compared to other diseases. I finish off every video presentation with this one slide. If we look at rabies, if it's untreated, it has virtually a 100% mortality rate. Same with prion disease. Virtually 100% people who get prion disease die. Ebola, mortality rates between 40 and 90%, depending on the country and the outbreak. Nipah, 77% mortality rate. Bubonic plague, 60% mortality rate. MERS, 34% mortality rate. This is a relatively recent outbreak. SARS, 10% mortality rate. Again, another fairly recent one. The flu, annual flu, averages 0.1% mortality rate. And COVID-19 is likely to end up with a comparable or even lower mortality rate than the flu. So, once we start understanding this, and to some degree, these factors have been known for over a month, is this a medical crisis or an induced social crisis?